With the new iPhone SE for less than $100 at Metro, you rule. It's the most affordable iPhone on the #1 brand in prepaid. So whether you're studying online or FaceTiming.
Hey, Mom.
Hi, dear.
The iPhone SE has all you need. Switch to Metro and get the iPhone SE for $99.99 after rebate redemption and 6 months of service with AutoPay. Metro by T-Mobile. Rule your day. Limit 1 per account/household. Requires port and ID validation. Not valid for numbers currently on the T-Mobile network or active on Metro in past 90 days. Restrictions apply. See store for details.
Hey, this is Jill from the Container Store.
Oh.
Is there something wrong?
I just thought a virtual designer would be a cool robot.
I could do a robot voice if that helps.
Maybe?
Hi, I am Jill. Let's design.
Nope, absolutely not. Regular voice, thank you.
Yeah, I'm not good at impressions.
Enjoy free virtual in-home closet design and up to 25% off closet systems with the Container Store's custom closet sale. The Container Store, where space comes from.
Welcome, readers. On today's Shelf Byte, I'm reviewing Midnight Sun by Stephanie Meyer. Stay tuned. Welcome to the Shelf Addiction Podcast, and thank you for streaming or downloading today's Shelf Byte episode. If you're new here, Shelf Bytes feature spoiler-free book and audiobook reviews in just a few minutes. I'm your host, Tamara Ford, and if you'd like to chat with me about the book reviewed in this episode, you can find me on Instagram at Shelf Addiction. In addition, don't forget you can always find me in both the Facebook group Shelf Addiction Official or on the Patreon page. Speaking of Patreon, thank you to all of our members. Your support means so much. If you'd like to show your support for the show, please consider becoming a Shelf Addiction Patreon subscriber. You'll gain access to the exclusive Patreon-only content, including monthly live streams, uncut video podcast recordings, stickers, t-shirts, and more, depending on your subscription level. Join us by clicking the link in the show notes or go to shelfaddiction.com and click the Support Us tab. Help us make even more bookish content for your ears. If you'd like to show your support in a non-monetary way, please share this episode with bookish friends or on your favorite social media space. Okay, let's jump into it. I chose today's title because back in the day, I really enjoyed the Twilight books. Yes, I admit it, but it's been a very long time, if I'm being real honest about it. Since that time, I did find some of the things in the Edward-Bella relationship were a bit problematic for me, but I was curious enough to see what Edward's point of view could bring to the table. Would it change my thoughts on the book, or how about their relationship? Let's find out. Midnight Sun by Stephanie Meyer is the 5th book in the Twilight saga, so even though it's the 5th book, so much time has passed, it could be like new. This is a YA fantasy title, and I picked it up on audio using my Audible credit. While this is a spoiler-free review, this has special circumstances. This is a retelling of the Twilight story from Edward's point of view, so I will try my best not to reveal anything big, but I will be making references here and there to the original story. So if you haven't read Twilight at all, it may feel a little spoilery at times, but it's likely you won't have a clue what I'm talking about in reference to Twilight anyway if you haven't read it. Because this is essentially the same plot, but flipped for a male perspective, I don't think that it's possible to review this without considering Twilight. So again, I had the audiobook. The unabridged audio ran 25 hours and 49 minutes, which translate to 662 pages in hardcover. Narrated by Jake Abel, released August 4th, 2020 by Hachette Audio. For those of you that have no clue what this book is about, I'm going to start with a bit of the Goodreads synopsis. This unforgettable tale told through Edward's eyes takes on a new and decidedly dark twist. Meeting Bella is both the most unnerving and intriguing event he has experienced in all his years as a vampire. As we learn more fascinating details about Edward's past and the complexity of his inner thoughts, we understand why this is the defining struggle of his life. How can he justify following his heart if it means leading Bella into danger? Okay, so let's start with the characters. So Edward is the narrator this time around, and he is the main character of the book. He actually has more face time than Bella does on the pages. And I actually enjoyed him telling the story for the most part. He was able to share more details as expected thanks to his vampire gift, which in turn made some of the best parts of the book parts that did not include Bella. I feel like I got a peek behind the curtain and got to see what Edward was up to when he was off the page in Twilight, which turned out to be good and bad for me. Through Edward's eyes, Bella came off very bland to me. I didn't see the beauty that he claimed to see through his descriptions. In addition to that, since we knew Edward's every waking thought, I did not care for how simple Edward thought Bella was. He didn't use the word simple, but according to him, she was, quote, always worrying about the wrong things. And that was something he said in Twilight. You could tell in the Twilight books he was frustrated with her, but to see it from his point of view, he thinks she's dumb as a doorknob, basically. And I mean, only because she's not fearful for her own life. She's more concerned with him than her own life. And that is something that also comes across clearly in the Twilight books. So this wasn't an entirely new concept, as far as Edward and his thoughts on Bella and her recklessness, in his opinion. But I was hoping there was a little bit more there than that. I did enjoy learning even more about the Cullens and how they came together over the years as a family or coven. The plot was as expected. As I'm not new to this story, I was looking for certain things to happen, and they did. I think the plot was still, action-driven, even though we got a lot more character depth, I think, in this version of the Twilight story. Unfortunately, I did not feel any better about the Bella-Edward relationship. Even though I got to see it from a different point of view, I did still feel that those same problems that I had with it before still exist. And actually, some of that is even worse, knowing that Edward knows full well what he is doing is wrong and inappropriate, but yet he does it anyway because he can't help himself. So that did not win any points with me. The pacing was also pretty good overall. I did feel that there were a few spots where things could have been shortened to make it more concise, and I think that slowed down the pacing a little bit because overall the length was just too long. Edward just always had something to say, always is thinking about everyone's thoughts. It took twice as long to tell this story as it did Twilight. And that is probably because Edward had to share every single thought that he hears, whether it's relevant or not. Even the ending conflict when the Cullen family is hiding Bella from, this vampire, you guys know the situation, or maybe not. But when it was Bella's point of view, of course, we didn't get every thought from every character plus some. So this turned that conflict into a very long and tedious couple of chapters to get through. The audiobook narrator did a great job. It was very fun and exciting to hear a male voice speaking for Edward for the first time. I did listen at a 1.5 speed, and that settled perfect for me. I think that Jake Abel did bring Edward to, your ears in a delightful way. But with all of that said, even the narrator wasn't enough to keep me fully engaged for long periods of time while listening. And by that, I mean, this audiobook took me a full month, shy of a couple of days, actually, I think 28 days or something like that, to finish this audiobook, because I would be listening and then I would kind of just fade out. And then I would stop, and then I'd come back and listen some more, and it would just repeat and repeat and repeat. So it took me almost a month. And I don't blame it on the story per se, but maybe because I already knew the story, so I knew what was coming. So I was less invested in spending the time to consume the book quickly. I guess for me, overall, as someone who did read and enjoy the Twilight series the first time around, it did not give me all the feels the second time around, even from a different point of view. Like I said, I really enjoyed hearing other thoughts that were going on during some of these scenes, and even seeing what Edward was doing off the page. But it still didn't do enough for me to just fawn all over this book like I did Twilight many, many years ago. I rated Midnight Sun 3 out of 5. I recommend this book for those that just adore the Twilight books and you want to see what this is about. If you are new to the series, you could start here and then go back to book 1. You could do that, or you may even be able to just skip to book 2, which is New Moon, because technically it's the same story. Also, if you're an audiobook fan, it was a nice change to hear this story from a male narrator, so audiobook listeners, do check out the audiobook version. That's it for today, you guys. Thanks for tuning in, and I look forward to speaking with you in the next episode. Until then, take care and happy reading. If you enjoyed today's book chat episode and would like to show your support, there are a few things you can do. Head on over to Apple Podcasts and leave a positive 5-star review. You can follow me on Twitter at Shelf Addiction. Most importantly, you can share this podcast with friends and family that enjoy all things bookish, including author interviews. Thank you for listening, and until next time, happy reading.
Now is the chance to use reliable energy to grow your money with the Dominion Energy Reliability Investment. Our new investment product offers competitive returns, no maintenance fees, and flexible online access to your money. Make the reliable investment in reliable energy. The Dominion Energy Reliability Investment. To find out more, go online to reliabilityinvestment.com. That's reliabilityinvestment.com.